Okay. All right, guys. So we just had 30 seconds of fluency warm-up time, right? Okay. We all were mouthing or whisper reading. We got ourselves warmed up. We're in the flow of reading. Now I'm going to give you a reading strategy. When you're reading, especially if you have a good fit book, you're probably going to come to one or two words that you don't know yet. And so when you come to those words, you are going to use your strategies. You're going to break those words into parts. You're going to look for prefixes and suffixes, and you're going to look for sounds that you know, and then you'll put all those words together and finally figure them out. You listen, Brandon? Okay? But sometimes when we take time to figure out words that we don't know yet, it can take away from the meaning of the sentence. We get distracted from the meaning, and I don't want you to lose the meaning of the sentence. So, one way to keep the meaning of the sentence when we're figuring out words we don't know is to go back to the beginning of the sentence and read it like we've always known it. Okay? So let me give you an example. So I'm reading in my book right here. It says, let's see, let me use your book. Right here. Phaeton entered the gleaming palace of the sun god and walked into the throne room. He stopped in the doorway, blinded by the ray of light, radiance of Helios, the sun god. Okay, so I just figured out a word, so what do I need to do now? Go back to the beginning of the sentence. So, okay. Phaeton entered the, starts right here. He stopped in the doorway, blinded by the radiance of Helios, the sun god, who wore a purple robe and sat on a high throne of emeralds. Do you see how I figured out that word? I sounded it out, I used all my strategies, and then I went back to the beginning of the sentence and read the sentence with that word in it, like I've always known that word. What that does is it's going to attach it in my brain so that my brain can keep that word for next time, okay? Now, you all have your own books. They're on your independent levels, and what we're going to do is you're going to whisper read your book to yourself. I'll give you yours back, Tamari. And I'm going to come around this circle, and I'm going to listen to you read, and I'm going to be listening for you to use that strategy, okay? So when you come to a word you don't know, what are you going to do, Shakiria? Go back to where? Of the page? Where do we go back to? The beginning of the sentence. And we're going to read that word like we've always known it. Now, on that second read, you shouldn't be still sounding it out. You should be reading that word like you've always known it, like it's your word in your vocabulary. Okay? So if you have to sound it out a second time, you need to go back. Do it again until you don't have to sound that word out anymore. All right? I'm going to be listening for each and every person to use that strategy. Good deal? All right. Let's go. Whisper reading. Right here. Santa Barbara. You have this way.
Challenge
Challenge.
him with a whip that Stratter,
What again, Madison?
to see
What's that right
right here. Jim, your pride that I am really and challenge him in a room that he had shattered lesser man.
Beautiful. Close. What would Very good. Made for me and hoisted me up. Like, we should get out this word, so what should we do? Close. Say it again. So 2 syllables. What's this one? Pause. You just decoded a word you didn't know before, so what do you do? Beautiful. Exactly right. You read it just like you've always known that word, and now you have it embedded in your vocabulary forever. Let me hear you, Zoe. Now, go back to the beginning of that sentence and read that word that you stumbled on like you've always known it. Very, very good. Great job, Zoe. You hear you, Shakira? Very good. So wait just a second. So yours is a little different. In this sentence, you didn't see a word that you didn't know before, but you read a sentence structure that you've never read before. And I want you to go back to the beginning of that sentence, and I want you to read it in that sentence structure. What you saw was there are little dashes right here, and that's like an aside where they're like throwing some extra information into the sentence. So it would read like this. I got to sit with my new friends, Jessica and Matthew and Catherine, who went by Katie, at lunch. Does that make sense? You read it just like that. Very, very good, Shakira. Keep on reading. All right, let me hear you tomorrow. Where you at? Okay. Okay. So, what's this say? Not fairy. Say every sound. Look at each letter. Fire. What's this Y make? Fire. Okay, go back to the beginning. Very good. Very good. Now you have that word in your vocabulary forever. Okay, guys. So we're going to meet like this more regularly starting next week. And every day you're going to bring your library book, whatever library book you're working on at that moment. I also want you to bring a mask since we're at a small group table. Every time you come to the small group table, I want you to bring a mask if you have one. If you don't have one, that's okay. Also, when you're reading, I think it would help us all if we all used our fingers to track so that when Miss Hannah comes over, when I come over and I'm looking at what you're reading and I can tell which word you're looking at, I'll be able to look where your finger is and I'll know exactly where you're at, right, Gabe? Okay? Now, what was our strategy today? Who can remind me?
What's a little baby? You do this.
Baby, and then what do?
You go back and reread it before we all say a word.
Yes, so you go back to the beginning of the sentence and you read it like you've always known it. Everybody say that. Read it like you've always known it. And that sticks it in your vocabulary forever. Now, I'm going to keep one person and we're going to do a reading conference. Would anybody be interested in a reading conference? I saw your hand first. Now, if I have time, I'll come to Brandon. But if not, I'll get Brandon tomorrow, okay?
Can I go?
That means I'm going to listen to him read some more and then I'm going to talk to him about his specific reading and give him a couple more strategies, okay? Everybody else can go to their seat for reading. Okay, make sure to use that strategy at your seat. Keep on reading those books. Does anybody have a goal for finishing a book this week? Anybody?
Yes, I got a goal.
You have a goal? What's your goal?
To read this.
Oh, you want to finish this book this week?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to see you working on it at your seat, okay? Really finishing it. All right, Jaden's staying right here. Everybody else going to their seat to read.
I want to go to the next chapter.
Miss
You can do it, Lauren.
Miss Hannah, do you know this still running? Miss Hannah.
The library or that library?
Miss Hannah.
Yes, can you hand it to me? Because I have to keep it going. All right, we're all